Disney's brand new take on The Lion King is the latest in a long line of seemingly never-ending remakes of their animated back catalogue. It was directed by Jon Favreau, who also revitalized The Jungle Book for them, and was produced using groundbreaking, state-of-the-art virtual reality filmmaking techniques, leading to incredible photorealistic animation and imagery. The original Lion King was the first movie I ever saw in cinemas at the age of 3, and has carried through with me as one of my absolute favourites of all time. Hearing that Disney had planned this new movie, as someone who has enjoyed most of their remakes, I was both excited and nervous all at once. After having heard early reactions and reviews, many of which have been highly negative, I was even more nervous to check out the movie. These Disney remakes to me have worked best when they are different to the original source, brave enough to break free, try something fresh and add new, welcome elements and original slants on old stories. The Lion King was said by many to be a carbon copy of the original, one that doesn't take risks and follows it beat by beat. And yes, they would be right. The new remake of Lion King offers up very little new to the table. It's easily the safest remake of the bunch, quite simply taking the original movie and retelling it almost verbatim using new tools and in a different art form. Despite this, while it took me a little while to settle into the movie, I actually came around to really enjoying it. These remakes exist for two sole reasons, well, three if you want to count money, but they exist for simple nostalgia and to introduce new generations of audiences to old stories but in modern ways. This movie ticks both boxes incredibly. Of course, it's a wonderful trip down nostalgia lane, and you may continue to ask, but why not just watch the original? But I say, come on, isn't there a whole lot of fun revisiting this story in such a fresh and incredibly visceral way, in a way new audiences can connect to in the ways we connected to the original? For me anyway, I was left in awe and wonder, experiencing a movie I've watched 100 times, almost as if for the first again. I enjoyed mostly everything about this movie. I thought that most of the new voice cast were fantastic, with the exception of maybe Donald Glover, who I thought was a little weak as Simba. Standouts for me though were easily Seth Rogen as Pumbaa and Billy Eichner as Timon. They added some of the greatest moments in the film and some bright new sparks of humour, many of which are fairly meta and self-referential, even almost addressing the audience at various times, breaking down that fourth wall. The two characters were made a conduit through which the movie could change certain things up while acknowledging that things were being changed. I thought it worked perfectly. While the photorealistic imagery means the characters don't exude the same emotion as those from the traditionally animated film, I thought the realism brought to them well and truly made up for that. There is emotion in here, even if incredibly subtle. No, I didn't feel a huge connection to these characters as characters like I do in the original, but for this particular version, I think it worked very well. For me, Scar worked the best in this respect. I remember being terrified by the traditionally animated version when I was 3. I couldn't imagine how kids would react to this new one. And without spoilers, while some have complained about how Be Prepared was handled in the movie, I think it was easily the best musical number in it, adapted and presented in a whole new, riveting and exciting way. The musical numbers overall, I will say I was not a huge fan of. Traditional animation gave filmmakers the freedom to go over the top and to do really whatever they wanted. Large set pieces, funny gags, and overall extravagant. In this version, the musical numbers really just equate to the characters singing while walking and strutting about as the camera slowly tracks along with them. I guess in this art form, the things that work in traditional animation can't work as well, especially if you do want to keep it real. But I was kind of hoping they could be a little more interesting. Instead, they were a little boring and bland. I had the same issue with Aladdin earlier this year. You know, these songs probably didn't even need to be here, considering the movie's real aesthetics, but if they were gone, crowds would be upset, and this wouldn't be The Lion King. And at that, while the songs, the story, and even the majority of the dialogue are the same as that from the original, I came to realize that these are the things that are just so inherent to it. The things that quite simply make it so special, unique, and iconic in the first place. They are thus the elements that simply cannot be removed, changed, or altered in any major way, or else again, in the end, this isn't The Lion King. And to be completely honest, if this wasn't The Lion King, the haters would still be having a field day because it would be too different for their liking. And therein lies the bravery of this particular remake. Not in that it goes in a completely different direction, but in that it stays on the same course despite what some audiences may clamour for or think they do. Sure, the original version of The Lion King is by far the superior movie, doing just about everything 10 times better than this remake, and to be honest, I'd probably choose to watch the original over the remake 9 times out of 10, but I find the remake to have such a beautiful charm, beauty, and quality, and have an enormous admiration for its filmmakers and animators, for its technological innovation, and for bringing this story to the screen in ways I never imagined. Say what you will about it, but for me, The Lion King is a true experience. If this is your first time viewing one of my videos and you'd like to see more like it in the future, then please don't forget to hit that big old subscribe button up on your screen, as well as that like button down below for that little extra support. Also, don't forget to check me out on social media, and please consider supporting me over on Patreon. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic day.